Why do you think people are so keen to judge people morally from a time when people just thought differently about the world?
I think it's because they don't have very much historical context and they can't step back and see their own moral failings.
I mean, because goodness knows what will be how we will be judged in 100 years' time, 200 years' time. It's difficult to know. I mean, I often think about these activists who are toppling statues. Had they been alive at that time, they probably would have shared the opinions of the figures in the statues they're toppling. And it takes a sort of lack of imagination to see that.
Yeah.
So what is the solution to this? How can we restore the need to have a conversation about this rather than just arbitrarily make a decision and go out and commit an act of vandalism?
Well, I would say stronger punishment for people who are attacking statues. And that includes people who have been attacking statues of black people, because there was, after the Colston attack, there were attacks on a statue in Bristol of a black man, and this was sprayed with corrosive substance. And I don't approve of that, and I don't approve of the Colston statue being toppled. So I think we need to treat crimes against cultural property much more seriously.
Is there also the problem that a lot of it comes down to interpretation? Historians are torn on certain historical figures, and Lord Nelson has been targeted, but there is no actual evidence of any of his views towards race or the slave trade. So people, often historically ill-informed people, are making decisions. Mahatma Gandhi would be another example. They've been caused to have his statue torn down. Now, Mahatma Gandhi did say some things that by our standards are unacceptable. Absolutely. He also got the English out of India. So, you know, there's a balance sheet there, right?
Yeah.
I mean, but is that a problem, that people aren't just informed enough about the people?
Well, I would say the problem is also coming from the top. You had an interview, very good interview, with historian Tom Holland, and he said that he would be, I think, very happy to see certain statues coming down because they were put up by people who knew that slavery was wrong, but they still erected these statues to people who were connected with the slave trade. And here you have a historian saying, maybe if these protesters, they go off and do some sort of historical research and think about this, then maybe they'll come to a sort of a balanced appraisal of the merits of this particular person. That's not the case. When the Colston statue came down, it was a large group of people who were in that place to topple that statue, and then with the assistance, or the connivance or cooperation of the mayor and the chief of police, that statue was toppled because it was permitted, in effect, by the authorities. So you've got the authorities and you've got historians who are, prevaricating and sort of permitting this.
So do you feel that we are reaching a point where these kind of attacks are going to be more common because figures of authority are not taking a stand on this?
Yes. Yeah, I think that's unfortunately the case. You had Nadim Zahawi, a cabinet minister, at the time the Colston statue came down, saying that more of these statues should be coming down. We've had the head of the ICA, who's now had to resign. He said that he wanted all of the statues of people connected with the slave trade, thrown into rivers and so forth. So you've got very senior people who are encouraging iconoclasm.
Which is an odd one, isn't it? Because surely a lot of these landmarks are not about celebrating the worst aspects of our history. They're about acknowledging and remembering some of the worst aspects of our history as well as the positive. And actually, to have a good view of history, you have to understand both. Surely.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you can have statues of people that you revile.